Welcome to the Sunday, November 5th edition of the PFF Forecast. We are live after the Cincinnati Bengals covered, and a very important cover for all of our bankrolls over the Bills. We've got a great show. We're going to do a couple of things. We've got a banner that needs to be hung for Arthur Smith. We're going to talk about that. We're going to power rank the AFC because there's some very good teams in the AFC. We're going to talk about next steps for the Giants and the Cardinals. Are the Raiders going to be playing in a Super Bowl at home? And then, of course, we're going to guess the Week 10 lines. Let's We have a question for the group, for the people out there that are joining us late on a Sunday night, as we always do live after Sunday Night Football. What is a more impressive feat? Losing in Jeff Saturday's coaching debut or losing to a quarterback who was a backup for another team that decided to trade him away, who showed up 3 days before, who was learning the cadence on the sideline before going into the game, didn't know the names of any players, that being Josh Dobbs and that coach being Arthur Smith. Brad, which one is more impressive?
I'm actually going to go with the quarterback. I think with Saturday, we saw the head coach firing bump that just took place in Las Vegas. You said, are they going to win a Super Bowl? Based in their locker room, I think they just did win the Super Bowl earlier today. So, but I'm going to go with the quarterback because at least with Saturday, you probably say, okay, shrink the playbook down, keep it simple, run our bread and butter, and just like be, motivated and energized. With Dobbs, he's literally going through their hard count with Garrett Bradbury on the sideline and getting feedback from like the left guard or the right guard or whoever it was. Like, it's insane. And then he comes in and plays well, like produces, throws the ball well, runs the ball well. I think that is more of an embarrassing loss for Arthur Smith than it was for Josh McDaniels losing to Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, Brad. I'd go with losing to Josh Dobbs, at least with Saturday. Like, the rest of the roster was pretty much intact. Like, it really, and you just elevated your offensive assistant to call plays, which I forget who it was at the time. I'm pretty sure he was with Reich.
Press Taylor, Jaguars legend.
Oh, yeah, Press Taylor.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Was it? I don't know. Yeah, whatever. So, but yeah, Dobbs coming in, not knowing the playbook, doing the hard counts on the sideline. And also mention that let's not forget Christian Darrisaw was out, top 5 left tackle. Justin Jefferson was out, best receiver in the NFL. They lose KJ Osborne in the middle of the game, who's your basically wide receiver 2 and starting slot when Jefferson's healthy. And then I'm pretty sure one more offensive player got hurt in game. You have no run game to support you. At one point, it was like Cam Akers had 6 carries for 2 yards and Madison was 7 carries for 5 yards. It was like everything was stacked against Josh Dobbs in this game on the road. Still found a way to get it done. So I think you have to go with losing to Dobbs as the more impressive feat.
The more impressive feat is finding a way to continually piss off the fantasy community with Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith single-handedly putting the team on his back. I would agree that losing to Josh Dobbs is more impressive because as much as a coach can make a difference, like the team is still this kind of the same team. And to come in and somehow lose to a QB that had no idea what he was doing, who, by the way, like Josh Dobbs, I thought played decently in Arizona and like is making himself a decent amount of money this year, which no one saw coming. But that is the state of the quarterback play in the NFL. Let's go to the AFC though, because the Ravens have now destroyed, demoralized, embarrassed a couple of pretty decent teams, and have done so really without like Lamar Jackson having to be that dominant. Like that's how much they've beaten these teams to a pulp. The Bengals have kind of figured it out, covering tonight against the Bills. And the Chiefs, I want to kind of talk about them a little bit because, yes, they win in Germany with a big home crowd. They cover there. But I'm very interested in how you guys would power rank the AFC because there are a lot of very good teams. And I think you can make a case for a few different ones. So let's start with you, Brad. Your AFC power rankings.
Yep. So it is still Chiefs in 1. There are obviously concerns, but that's not gonna change for now. Get bet down from -5.5 to +1 at FanDuel at kick, and absolutely dominate the entire first half, and then kind of coast, but whatever. So Chiefs first. I have Ravens second. I mean, two absolutely beat downs of I think the fourth and fifth best team in the NFC conference, which obviously isn't saying a lot, but Ravens, Bengals are in third now. And then for me, it's the Jaguars in fourth, and then probably Dolphins 5. You could maybe argue Bills, but I'll go, Jags 4, Dolphins 5.
Arch,
When we did this a couple of weeks ago, having built I think I had the Bills at 5. I don't even have them in my top 5 anymore. So yeah, I'd go Chiefs at 1, Ravens at 2. But honestly, I could flip Ravens and Chiefs, and I would not be mad at it just because I think Ravens are maybe a little bit more complete, and at least the Ravens offense I feel like is firing on all cylinders. So yeah, Chiefs 1, the Ravens 2. I'd go Bengals 3, Dolphins 4, mainly because I think their offense has been pretty mediocre against good defenses, but their defense has actually been playing much better now that Ramsey's here. It's shifted everyone down a bump. So who's not cornerback 2, where he's not cornerback 1. Now he's he doesn't have to guard the best receivers in the game. So it helps everywhere else. That's just kind of the nature of weak link systems. That is the secondary unit. So yeah, I have Dolphins at 4, and then I go Jags at 5.
all right. I've been very outspoken about people adjusting too quickly on Kansas City. You can tell very quickly if someone knows what they're doing when it's week 3 and they've got Kansas City at number 5 in their power rankings. I won't say any names, but that's how you know someone is not a serious person. They just don't know what the hell is going on. But I also want to be a little progressive here, because my takeaway from watching Kansas City, by the way, with a huge home field advantage and a completely healthy Patrick Mahomes, didn't have the flu at altitude anymore. And I know that the Dolphins do have a very good defense. It's a good point. They've gotten some players back. That offense is not together yet. And so the defense, yes, is carrying that team. This is a data point that really scares me. Patrick Mahomes has had basically a 90 PFF grade throwing the ball 20 plus yards downfield in each of the past 3 seasons. That includes with the crappy receivers that he had last year. His grade throwing the ball 20 plus yards down the football field is 67 this year. He has 1 touchdown and 7 interceptions. You watch that game today, and if the Dolphins had any semblance of an offense, then the Chiefs you're not scared about the big play. He has to dink and dunk it down the field. His receivers are not very good. And when Travis Kelce isn't there, it's not a good situation. So I am actually going to put the Bengals in first. This is partially being a little bit different. I just think they're the most complete football team right now.
Yeah.
They have the quarterback that I think, he's not quite Patrick Mahomes. No one is. But with the supporting cast around him, that offense together scares me more. And I think the defense is also incredibly well put together. Lou Anarumo does as good a job as anybody. So I'm going Bengals 1. I'm going Kansas City 2. I'm going Baltimore 3. I still have Buffalo in 4 because Josh Allen is an alien. And if they ran with Josh Allen the whole game, they might have won that game today. And the Dolphins are in 5th because the Dolphins quite literally can't win a game against a good team on the road. It's impossible. They can't do it. So those are my 5. Obviously having the Bengals in 1 is a big difference. I guess how close, my question to you guys, how close are 1 and 2? You guys have the Ravens in 2. I obviously have the Chiefs there, but how close is a team to the Chiefs in your guys' opinion?
Top 3 for me is its own cluster. It's its own tier. And then I do think it's I know we kept Buffalo out. I think those teams I mentioned, Miami, Jacksonville, Buffalo, are all in the next tier. So yeah, it's pretty close. Cincy, I'm trying also not to overreact, but we are also tethering to a team to start the season that wasn't really them, and we know it wasn't really them. So even if their record was the same or similar, but they looked like this, but just maybe lost some 1-score games or what have you, I think we'd all obviously agree. Yeah, the defense, it's a good shout. Obviously, we trust, the offense a whole lot. They're finally healthy now. The defense also looks like the defense we're used to seeing, which kind of gets forgotten at times these last couple of years. Yes, Joe Burrow's clutch and yada, yada. Or maybe he is, maybe he isn't, because the defense has been massive in all their playoff games and big games, and they look like it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would have the Ravens closest to the Chiefs. I wouldn't put the Bengals in that tier just yet. I think one of the things that's always impressed me about the Ravens is like they know how to like finish games and like they know how to really like beat down a team. This was like in this game, the Bengals, I feel like controlled the game, but they let the Bills kind of slip back in. Ravens kind of just dominated the Seahawks. And I think for me at least, I'm still more confident in Lamar. I think he should maybe be closer to the MVP favorite than he is right now. I think he's a slightly better quarterback than Joe Burrow right now, even though I trust since he's weapons more. And then yeah, I think Mike McDonald's the best defensive play caller in the NFL right now. So I would trust Baltimore's defense a little bit more as well. So just because of having a better quarterback, having a better defense, I would roll with the Ravens above Cincy.
See, I think if I'm in a situation where I have to score, if I have one drive and I have to score, the Bengals with a healthy Joe Burrow scare me more than the Ravens and the Chiefs. The reason for that, and it has not like Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL with a bullet. His supporting cast is pathetic. I can't underscore this enough. They are absolutely terrible. I mean, they traded for Mecole Hardman. Has Mecole Hardman touched the ball and done something positive? Like every time he touches the ball, it's like an absolute meltdown, a total catastrophe. And so I do think by the end of the season, there's a really good chance that the Chiefs are that team again, because it doesn't take a lot and Mahomes is that freaking good. But Mahomes can't, like, he literally can't do it himself in the sense that when these receivers just drop the ball and create no separation, the receiver creating the most separation for Kansas City was Justin Watson. Rashee Rice, everyone points to Rashee Rice. Eric tweeted out, he's like, Rashee Rice is good. Rashee Rice is good. He's like good as a third wide receiver, and he plays about as much like as a fourth wide receiver. Like if he's good, then why isn't he playing? Why is he getting like 8 targets a game? You know, it's ridiculous. So that's why I would put Cincinnati there. And I think the same sort of issues do show up for Baltimore in those close games where there's just a little bit less trust in an OBJ, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews situation than there is with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. And by the way, those tight ends played really well. So that's why I'm going with the Bengals right now. Obviously, they have a long road ahead to try and get into, you know, a place where they play a home playoff game because of what they started with. But that Ravens Bengals game, is that in 2 weeks? That'll be a pretty great game.
I mean,
what you guys think on that? So you have, it's in Baltimore, I think.
I wouldn't make it a field goal. I think it would be like 1.5.
I think I'd make it like a Ravens minus 2.5.
Yeah, I'd go Ravens by 2.5 as well. I think that home field bump, I think you can make it 2, you can make 1.5, somewhere around there, whatever you think home field is. I think that's a legit home field. And home field, what this year? It's like more like 1.5, 2 so far, right? I think is what it is. Okay. That's the AFC power rankings. Let's go to the next thing up, which is a couple of teams have some very interesting choices to make. The Giants, by virtue of a historic comeback against the Arizona Cardinals, have 2 wins. They also have Tommy DeVito playing quarterback. So they have a chance to get Caleb Williams. They have a quarterback that is not a serious person playing quarterback. What do they do going forward? Is this Carson Wentz coming in to lead them to a 2-15 record? What's going to happen here?
You know, it's funny. This is one where it's like the football decision isn't part of it. I think from like a business running a company standpoint, you're sitting around saying like, we need to sell seats and sell tickets and like convince our fans that we are a serious operation. So I think they all are going to do something. And yes, Tommy DeVito did start cooking later on in that game after starting off, 1 of 3 with 2 interceptions and 11 yards. But you have to do something just to be a competent franchise. I do love the idea of Carson Wentz simply because I love in the NFL when you get quarterback movement where it's a guy that used to be in your division that you therefore tore down and said stunk because you have like fan brain. And then when he comes to your team, you have to be like, actually, I was kind of, all that was not, he's actually really good if you dig into the weeds. So I'm excited to see Giants fans kind of like talk about how Carson Wentz is actually underrated. That would be the best part of that transaction, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Wentz would probably be the best option if they're trying to win. If they're trying to stay competent, they probably should go get a quarterback who can actually throw the ball and is familiar with Dable's system. The one that comes to mind, I think I brought this up a couple weeks ago. Jake Fromm, Washington's practice squad, was Josh Allen's backup for a couple years. I mean, just go get anyone else but Tommy DeVito. Like you literally could not do worse than him. Fromm's been in the league for a couple of years now, even though he's just probably just going to be a career backup. Good film guy. I think he's probably better than DeVito at this point. And again, he has experience with Dable's offense and could probably operate actually throwing from inside of a pocket.
Actually, I forgot. Sorry, I forgot. They signed Bears legend Matt Barkley, so that who obviously
Oh,
knows Brian Dable's system. He probably starts next week, I would imagine.
Yeah. I think Barkley's probably better than Fromm as well. So
yeah, probably the best option they could have had.
You can't bring Carson Wentz in there. I mean, this poor fan base. You cannot. So first, let's think about where this fan base has been. Okay, this fan base just a few short months ago was ready to watch Daniel Jones throwing touchdowns to Darren Waller in a playoff run with Saquon icing out the game. And it could not have gone more south. If you put Carson Wentz in there, there's nothing that Carson Wentz is going to do is going to, to be worth the pain and suffering that it is going to take to bring him onto your team. I think they should roll with Tommy DeVito. Just for the sheer entertainment value, I think they should roll with Tommy DeVito and see how far they can get him. I mean, this has to be we're looking for how we can get a top 2 pick, and they need to lose out, right? Because they have 2 wins. So there are a couple teams. There's the Cardinals that are in front of them, as well as the Panthers. Panthers don't have their first round pick, so that would of course go to Brad's Bears. So there are 2 teams that would be in front of them. So they need to really do a good job of being crappy and losing out. I think the question that I would ask Brad is, trading Daniel Jones, they have to trade him, cut him. Like, what does that look like? I can't imagine a team actually giving up an asset for.
They can trade him. You'll get something, not a lot, and you probably wouldn't. I guess wouldn't do it in theory, but it's
dumb.
Yeah, it's far more tradable than like a Kyler Murray deal. Obviously relevant, same draft class. We're going to get to him in a second here. It's super tradable. It was a 2-year deal effectively when they gave it to him, but $82 million in cash through the first 2 years. That's obviously the lion's share of the guarantees. There are some guarantee. Well, actually, it's very relevant now. I think he's going to have 2025 guarantees that kick in when he can't pass a physical this offseason. So yeah, it would kind of tie into a trade as well. It's kind of just came to me right in the moment that injury guarantee and is relevant for sure. So, but yeah, like you could still draft one of those top 3 guys and trade him, and I think you would. Yeah, you're getting a lot. No, you have no leverage, but hey, we'll give you a solo third for Daniel Jones. All right, done. Like I think it's a possibility.
Arthur Smith's going to bring him in and play tight end.
Yeah. Well, you're joking, but like, yeah.
That would be absolutely incredible.
Okay,
what about the Cardinals? So the Cardinals are in an interesting situation because they are actually, we talked about Tommy DeVito, Danny DeVito's son. Clayton, name that tune, actually played worse, if that's possible. I think he's going to break. He might set a record for lowest PFF grade. It was in the 20s pre-review. Pretty spectacular. So they're clearly not trying to win that game. They hold the number 1 overall pick right now. They obviously have Kyler ready to come back and play. So that, the thought would be that he would play this week. What should they do? What are their options with Kyler? Like, if you guys are the GM of the Cardinals, what's your game plan?
I think I'm higher on Kyler Murray than most, to be honest. Like I feel like he did well with Kingsbury, and he kind of elevated kind of a mediocre scheme. But if they do end up with the number 1 overall pick, like I don't think they should take I don't think they should take a quarterback. But you can't take a non-quarterback at 1. You should try your hardest to trade back. With how good the quarterback class is, like you're gonna get a haul. We saw last year, some great prospects, or in theory, some great prospects like Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, and we got the Panthers trading a boatload of picks plus DJ Moore. Like you're gonna get a lot. There are some generational prospects in this draft that are not quarterbacks. And with this Cardinals team, they have their tackles set. So like you're not really looking at like a Olu Fashanu or Joe Alt, but you can get a Marvin Harrison. You can get like a Jared Verse from Florida State. Like the Cardinals just need dudes. Like they need like talent. And I think taking a non-quarterback will help fill that roster up. Plus, like I really don't know what Kyler's trade value would be like if he plays a half season after the ACL, which scares me a little bit. But you're definitely going to have a higher trade value for that number one overall pick, given the type of talent that's available at the top of the draft.
I just think it's different here than like Chicago last year or other examples, because I think you already like the distribution of outcomes, even for a prospect as awesome as a Caleb Williams or a Drake May. Like, let's say, what would you say Kyler Murray? I guess I'll ask this to you guys. What we know of him as an NFL player? What percentile outcome is that for Caleb Williams or Drake May in your mind?
Such a good question. Man.
I think it's trickier for May just because May's more of like an in-structure guy. He does have a great out-of-structure ability. I think a lot of people like to comp Caleb to Kyler. So I think like Kyler would be I actually don't know. Joe, do you have an answer?
I think this is a phenomenal question, right? But Kyler was the number one overall pick. Caleb Williams was the number one overall pick. People, I thought you were going to say people have been comping Caleb Williams to Mahomes, which they of course have.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that Caleb Williams has done that I think you say, oh man, I'm not sure he's, like guaranteed to be awesome. I think it depends on how you view Kyler Murray going forward. My view of Kyler Murray going forward is that he played really, really good football with a probably terrible offensive coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury. So I think that Kyler Murray is a top 10 quarterback in the league with top 5 upside, who is potentially someone that when he gets injured or nicked up becomes a bottom 10 quarterback in the league, right? Which is a real situation. And I think so that's how I view him right now. I would say for Caleb Williams, I would say that is a 75th percentile outcome.
That's where I was going to say said between 70 and 80 was kind of what I was thinking. And that was where I started thinking on this question of like, I get that these are great prospects too, where if it was last year or obviously 2021 or 2022, with Pickett and Ritter, et cetera, like it wouldn't even be a conversation. I think you try to pull off to ties to a different Chicago Bears quarterback trade. And we also are, I think all in this podcast, believers of like, you should get as many picks as humanly possible and all that. But if you could pull off a Trubisky trade where you go from 2 down to 3, and I think you're getting way, way more because obviously this class is perceived in a much different light than it was in 2017. You're probably still getting an extra first to go down a spot because I think that's how good Drake May and Caleb Williams are. And then you're getting Marvin Harrison Jr., who I think is going to be one of the more impactful non-quarterback prospects of since like Jamar Chase probably. Like it's so yeah, I think that's a great outcome. I was thinking they would just kind of win enough games to pick 5th or 6th, and you just get a great prospect. But I think that's where I would go because I think Kyler Murray is already a top quartile or in that range outcome for what those guys could be.
So let me ask, before I give my answer, let me ask you about Kyler's contract here. So as you would view it, Brad, like how big of a impediment is it? We talk about the benefit of a rookie deal quarterback, and we've obviously seen many of those either go to the Super Bowl or, in Patrick Mahomes' case, win the Super Bowl. So looking at Kyler's contract, like thinking about what it looks like in the next couple of years, how does that impact their ability to build that roster?
I think the way it worked out that I like is that it's a much flatter deal than a lot of the deals, that have come. He's the year before the 2020 class, and it's terrible timing, right? I mean, he gets 46, and now we have 3 guys in the 2020 class making more than 50 million per year. That is, but it's of course not just about that. Like the way the cash flows are structured, it's a pretty flat deal throughout his deal. There aren't any balloon payments in the later years like there will be with Mahomes or was going to be with Mahomes, et cetera. So for that reason, I feel like to a degree you could argue it's less so than other top quarterback contracts. Like I would say it's not that big of a deal. They cleaned their books completely this year, saved $20 million on D-Hop, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like I don't think it's much of an impediment because I think he is going. I'm not going to say he's going to have surplus value on it, but I think he can play to its level. Like if he was the guy he was in 2021, he'd be playing at or above the level of his deal, is what I would say.
Okay, so I think here's what I would do. I would play Kyler starting next week. They play Atlanta. They then play in Houston. Have a game at home against the Rams. They play in Pittsburgh. They have a bye. They play at home to the Niners. They go to Chicago. They play in Philly, and they close out the season at home against Seattle. I would play Kyler Murray in all of those games. I think with Kyler Murray playing in all those games, this team is still terrible. There's a legitimate shot they'll maybe be favored in one of those games. A legitimate shot they still get a top 2 pick. And that's how bad they are. Obviously, the Panthers are very terrible as well. But what you do there is you get yourself an opportunity to make a decision at the end of the season. I right now would lean towards, if Kyler plays well enough to have some trade value, trading him, drafting Caleb Williams, and rebuilding. I think the reason for that is that with Kyler Murray, I would be worried about what would happen if he had to drop back and throw the football, if something were to happen to him. And he has gotten injured, and that has deteriorated his play. I think that is my concern with him. If he stays healthy, I agree with you, Arjun. I think people are probably a little low on him, but I think that would worry me. And, going back, this is the maxim that I would use. What on your deathbed would you regret, right? And I think I would regret, you've already seen Kyler. I would regret the opportunity to have a Caleb Williams if he hits, because here's the thing. The question is a good one. What percentile outcome is Kyler Murray for Caleb Williams? It's his, 75th, 80th percentile. But does Kyler Murray have a percentile that he couldn't, that he hasn't hit yet, that is so good that it makes you a Super Bowl contender? And I don't know if that's the case. Whereas with Caleb Williams, that exists. And I think in this league, you play for the opportunity to have the guy that could be the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't know if Kyler has that. So I would play for that outcome. But I think you've got to play Kyler to see how good he is, if he can extend, that range of outcomes, and then to trade him to get something back to help Caleb Williams. So that's what I would do going forward. Okay. It is time to guess some lines. Before we do, we're going to pay a few bills. Prize Picks. This podcast brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks, especially if you're in a place where you cannot legally bet on sports. You can play fantasy sports with Prize Picks and create your optimal lineup. We're about to talk about a bunch of games here. We're going to talk about a ton of players that you could target in this upcoming week. There's also basketball now, which Prize Picks has. And here's how it works. It's very, very simple. You choose between 2 and 6 players, and you pick whether they're going to go over or under their projections. So something like LeBron James goes over his total number of points, and Travis Kelce, has more receptions. You could even do a combo between the two of them with like 10.5 threes made and receptions. It's crazy. And it's also super easy. So you can combine players across sports. It's a ton of fun. It's really easy to use. Go to prizepicks.com/forecast. Use the code forecast for a first deposit match of up to $100. Again, that's prizepicks.com/forecast. Use the promo code forecast for a first deposit match of up to $100. Also, Gerber Life, they have brought you fabric, which means that as a parent, if you are one, you may have the opportunity to protect your family and still go bet egregious amounts of money on sports every single Sunday. And the way that you can do that is by getting yourself a good term life insurance policy from Fabric by Gerber Life. It is super, super simple. You go to meetfabric.com/forecast. And in 10 minutes, you can have yourself an affordable term life insurance policy. That's right. 10 minutes, you're ready to go. Get back on the couch, watch some more football. meetfabric.com/forecast. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Insurance Company, not available in certain states. Prizes subject to underwriting and health questions. All right. It is time for week 10. We've made it. Here we go. We have a particularly terrible, and when I say terrible, I mean terrible, set of what do you think I was going to say, Brad?
Oh, the Thursday game that I was going to refuse.
The primetime games are a true delight, okay? We have Carolina, Chicago on Thursday night. We have Indy, New England. We're going to have to wake up at 6:30 in the morning Pacific time to watch Indianapolis and New England in Germany. We have Jets, Raiders on Sunday night. And on Monday, we have Denver, Buffalo. So it is a true delight. In week nine, we managed to pull through with some nice winning records here. Arjun went 5-0. Brad, did you go 4-3? And I think I went 3-2. So we're going to try and build off this. There's a couple of positive weeks going. I'll share my screen so everyone can see. And we will get going with week number 10. So let me pull this up here so we can all see it. Here we go. This is great podcasting. There we go. All right. So now you can see it. I didn't fill Brad's in. This is Brad. That's me at the top. And then there's Arjun. Brad's still in the lead, 35-18. But I'm coming. It's a long season. Season doesn't start until Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And I actually went 3. I actually did have a losing week. It's a teaser that's you counted as 2, so I went 3-4, not 4-4.
Yeah, you hate to see that, Brad. That means that Houston, Arjun and I are sneaking up.
It was a big swing outcome too, because I noticed that I had the Texans as well, and you guys both teased the Bucks, so it was like not actually a swing, but kind of a swing game of sorts.
You better protect that lead. All right, here we go. Carolina and Chicago. Brad.
Yep, I had the Bears -2.5.
I went Bears -3.
I went Bears by 3 as well. I couldn't believe it, but then I looked up at the television screen and Bryce Young had thrown another interception. It is 3. It appears everywhere. Yeah, it's 3. Brad, no respect for your Bears.
Haven't had respect for them the last month. I've gone 3-1 fading them the last month as well, but I'm not going to do it this week. I'm going to. It should be a full field goal, probably.
All right. I'm guessing Arjun, you have no bet on this. I don't.
No, I will be betting the Bears here. Give me any chance to fade Bryce Young out of field goal or less, and I'll be taking it. So easy bet for me. Oh, hold on. Did you guys remember last week when I filled in the bet column with a W?
Yes.
Yeah. Should have left it. It was a good omen.
Oh yeah.
Should have just left it.
He called his shot. That was 5 straight Babe Ruths just live on the pod.
Is this going to be Justin Fields, by the way?
So actually, that is part of my thinking here. I don't think so. I originally thought it was going to be. I mean, I told you guys I thought he was going to play this Saints game.
Mm-hmm.
I now don't know. Ryan Poles said on the radio, I guess, or talking to beat reporters that he could play. And you imagine if the GM says that, it's probably for a reason. But then after the game, they asked DJ Moore about oh, you're gonna have. And he's like, it's a short turnaround. I don't know. Seems kind of tough. And he's thrown one time. I think he was questionable and limited in one practice. So long answer short, I'm really not sure, and that is why I ended up making it 2.5 because I think we might see one last dance for our guy T-Bag.
T-Bag was a journey today.
Him and Bryce combined for I think 6 turnovers today. Yeah, so it was a tough outing.
We are going to talk about the Saints here at some point. They still play this week. The fact that was a game in question with 5 turnovers is absolutely astounding. In Circus Survivor, there were 350 or so brave souls that took the Saints, and I was not one of them. And so I was a big T-Bag fan this week. And my God in heaven, just one time, buddy, please. Colts and Patriots. This one is in Germany. Somehow this game will end up being way better than Dolphins Chiefs, just the way that the ball bounces. Brad, what'd you make it?
Yeah, I'll Patriots +2.
I went Colts -3.
Nice. I have the Colts by 1.5. And let's see here. It is a 1.5. Juiced a little bit. Call it 1.5 though. I've got to imagine the total on this is quite low. I really like teasing the Patriots here out to 7.5.
I'm margin had the full field goal. Go ahead.
I'm seeing 43.5 for the total, so relatively low.
Any of you guys betting it any way, shape, or form?
Do we have a update on Josh Downs? Because I know he left the game due to injury.
It's a fair question. He's been consistently producing. I do not think
Yeah.
so. It's a good
Okay.
question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly I still like the Colts here. I mean, I remember coming into the season, I was heavy fading the Colts, but I've bet on them a decent amount this year, and I just really impressed with Shane Steichen, and I don't think Gardner Minshew had to do too much today. Obviously, realistically, the Colts only put up 13 offensive points on the Patriots, but I mean, Mac Jones. I think it's so easy to fade him. I haven't been impressed with the Patriots defense. Jack Jones and J.C. Jackson were kind of like out of it. They were like, I think they were like benched or something, and then they were sulking on the sidelines. And then Jack Jones didn't stay for his press conference. It just seems like the world is falling apart for the Patriots. And I just think this is a very well coached Colts team. So getting them under a field goal on a neutral field. I will take that. I guess the only thing that would worry me, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Belichick just has more experience with this kind of like long distance travel. It's Steichen's first time doing it. Like, how much do you think that matters, or does it not matter at all?
I think it matters a little bit, and here's one of the reasons that I like this teaser leg. So I was very interested to see what the split would be like in terms of fans at the Kansas City game, and it was about 10-1. Our two of our colleagues were there at the game, Timo, and then Mike Spitz, one of our great engineers. They were out there at the game, and they were like, "Oh my God, it's like, it is as we thought we were at a Chiefs home game." And so the Patriots, given the similar kind of fandom that the Chiefs have, and the fact that here the Colts are in an even bigger challenge. Like, Dolphins fans exist, Colts fans don't exist. So I would expect this to be a Patriots home game. I think that will help them considerably. I do think that both these teams kind of stink. So in that situation, with a home kind of game there, and I think that Belichick is a good matchup, or a bad matchup, I should say, for Gardner. Like, I think he will take advantage of some of Gardner's weaknesses here.
No, yeah, I can see it on both sides. The crowd thing did scare me because I assume also just for an international game, like if you're a fan that wants to go to an NFL game, like, oh, the Patriots, and you probably bought tickets before the season, so maybe you thought they were going to be like decent and figure it out. So I think it's going to be a massive, massive advantage in their favor. I just wanted to say real quick before we move on, you mentioned how Jack Jones and J.C. Jackson were out of it. You saw the tweet where Jack Jones liked the tweet. Maybe it was an accident, but needs to be mentioned. A guy tweeted at him, "Yo, at Jack Jones' account, you really should have just pled guilty at this point," because I guess he had
and he liked it.
and you liked that tweet. Like, it was like, yeah. So anyway,
Oh man, Cleveland, Baltimore, good one. This one in Baltimore. Brad, would you make this?
I had Ravens -4.5.
Same. I have the Ravens by 5. And let's see, what is it here? Looks like FanDuel and DraftKings at 5.5. Both of you guys on the Cleveland side, both of you guys put the Ravens at number 2 in your power rankings, and yet we're short on the spread. Interested to see what you guys do with this.
I'm not taking Cleveland. I know that much.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Yeah. What was your guys' assessment of Deshaun Watson today? Because there were a lot of good images from today. Jim Irsay holding on to Shane Steichen's fingers, like it was literally keeping him from falling off the Titanic, was phenomenal. Max Crosby and the Raiders smoking cigars after beating dominant Danny DeVito, phenomenal. But underrated is Deshaun Watson throwing a strike at a linebacker's helmet, the ball getting tipped in the air, Amari Cooper catching a touchdown, and Deshaun Watson pointing up to God and celebrating as if he had made an incredible play to lead the Browns to a touchdown. I am not feeling good if I am the Browns based on what I saw from Deshaun Watson, but he did kind of pick it up a little bit towards the end. So I could see how that might cause some confidence in what they can do, but I'm still out on it.
He did play better. It was pretty funny. Like I mean, it was a celebrated turnover with you play, which like is just kind of funny to us to see in like a vacuum. But anyway, he did play a little better. I don't know. I'm not taking the Browns. I guess I don't love the Ravens as much as I thought, but I'm not taking them either.
Cleveland defense very good.
Yeah.
I mean, Arjun's guy Mike McDonald versus Deshaun Watson is going to be a special one. What is the total on this game?
39.5, I think.
Sounds about right. Welcome to the NFL in 2023. Houston and Cincy. This one is in Cincinnati, Brad.
Bengals by 5.5.
I initially had Bengals -6, and then after seeing them tonight, I made it a full touchdown. So I have Bengals -7.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I have 5.5. I thought both teams played well today. I think Arjun's going to be right here.
Yeah. He's way right.
It's 8. Holy buckets.
Did we miss like a Texans injury or something? I don't want to like presume, but I know the Bengals play well tonight, but
Bengals played well tonight. Jamar Chase got a little banged up. I mean, let's be okay. So CJ Stroud played really well at home against I don't want to say bad, but like Todd Bowles' defense, it's not Lou Amarumo's defense,
Yeah.
and especially at home, I think it is a starkly different world here. But yeah, I will take the Texans getting 8. I think that I'm a little concerned about Jamar Chase. He got like that. I think he's going to be a little sore. Yeah, I mean, obviously CJ Stroud played great today.
470-5, and he's laying 8 points, or he's getting 8 points. I mean, like, yeah, since he played great, we talked him up a ton. They are a top, I think, for me, 3-team in the conference. But yeah, Jamar Chase, is a good point as well. But yeah, I mean, a lot of points. It's a lot of points.
Yeah. I'm gonna tease the Bengals here. I mean, I don't really think they'll drop this game. They're playing very well right now, and then big lose blender just filled with elite quarterbacks. And at this point, I mean, CJ Stroud's probably a top 10 quarterback already. If we want to overreact, maybe that's a discussion for next week. But yeah, I think I'll just tease the Bengals down to -2.
So we were talking about this in the chat, and I said, who does CJ Stroud remind you guys of? And I was hoping that I was going to catch you guys with a good one. And of course, Arjun came in and was like Joe Burrow. And I was like, yeah, exactly. Like that was exactly when I was watching CJ Stroud today. A lot of his throws were so impressive in the way that he kind of diagnosed from within the pocket where to get the ball to, and then the way that he threw it. I think you see this actually, like Josh Allen sometimes forgets like how he should throw a football, and he just like throws an absolute laser when he shouldn't. But Joe Burrow always makes the right kind of throw. And that was what I noticed with CJ Stroud today, just kind of throwing it all over the yard. I think he's got, to your point, Arjun, a little bit of a stronger arm. His mobility isn't like amazing, but it's definitely there. It's not, it is a part of his game. I'm not saying that he's as good as Joe Burrow by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he does have that similar type of game. And I think that's the type of player, he seems to be pretty calm. And in this kind of situation against Cincinnati, I think that bodes well, because even if Cincinnati gets out to a big lead, I think CJ Stroud's the type of guy that can get the backdoor cover. So anyways, with that said, Cincy will win by 30. San Francisco and Jacksonville. This one is in Florida.
I went pick 'em.
Whew.
I went Niners -1.5.
I have the Niners by 2.5. I have not given up on them yet. Let's see. It is. Where the hell is this game?
I'm seeing 2.5 juiced towards the Niners, 3 in a couple spots.
There it is. Yeah, DraftKings FanDuel at 2.5, and it is juiced a little bit towards 3. We will call it 2.5. You'll be able to get a 3 tomorrow, probably. Teaser zone, Brad.
Yep, teaser leg for me.
What about you, Arjun?
I get nervous because, like, I feel like, well, the Niners are going to probably be healthy for this game, get Debo back, get Trent back. They are capable of just blowing out teams. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable kind of fading the Niners off a bye, even if it's just a teaser leg. So I'm just gonna stay away.
Yeah,
What if I just simplify the entire thing down to like you can get Trevor Lawrence versus Brock Purdy plus 8.5 at home. He's also off a bye. Like just that's the full
Yeah.
like ignore
Jags-
everything else in your brain. That's just me. But anyway.
the Jags forget how to play football
Yeah, it's true.
more often than any other good team in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Like
That's a good point.
and coming off of a bye at home, like the perfect spot for them to lay an egg. And the Niners, I mean, a Kyle Shanahan coach team coming off of 3 straight losses, their bye week. There's a story about Antonio Pierce making his team run gassers at halftime. Great story, by the way, as a high school coach. Like that's kind of got to be what San Francisco's, off week was like. So yeah, I'm staying away from this one as well. I think there's a ton of variance in how this game could end up.
Mhm.
New Orleans, Minnesota. The Josh Dobbs-led Minnesota Vikings hosting the New Orleans Saints, Brad.
I had the Vikings plus 2.5.
I had the Vikings plus 3.
I showed no regard for human life. I have the Minnesota Vikings getting a 1.5. And let's see here. It is 2.5. Basically across the board. This will be a teaser leg for me. The New Orleans Saints aren't beating anybody by more than 3 points, except for Tyson Bagent. And it took a classic Tyson Bagent performance. I mean, that was a close game. And obviously they didn't end up covering the game. Closer than the score even appeared.
They lost turnover margin 5-0 and missed a 40-yard field goal, and the Saints had to bleed out the clock at the end of the game. Like, and I was wrong. Actually, there were 7 total turnovers because Bagent also fumbled, I think. But anyway, for Thursday's matchup, get excited. But yeah, I'm teasing it as well because like Dobbs will be a mess. It'll be some funkiness, but he just finds a way, and they'll lose by a field goal if they do lose this game.
Do we think Justin Jefferson comes back?
No.
Is it his first week he's eligible?
Yeah.
I genuinely think the win today like swings it more in my positivity that the answer is yes. I think the win mattered a lot.
I think he comes back. I don't think the first week he's eligible, I would say maybe it's a 50-50 chance. You cannot get overexcited by a win and risk him re-injuring that. So even if he comes back, I think you've got to see him go through a couple weeks of practice and be like, okay, he's good to go. So he doesn't re-injure it. Can you imagine having him re-injure it because you have faith in Josh Dobbs? Bless his soul. All right. You teasing this, Arjun, or no?
No, I think I'm just gonna lay off this game.
Green Bay and Pittsburgh. By the way, I managed not to watch any of the Brett Rippon Jordan Love debacle today. So I have no fresh opinions other than both suck.
Yeah.
So if anyone does, I'm excited to hear about it.
It was disgusting, that game. Yeah, Jordan Love missed like half dozen throws that could have been explosives, could have been 30, 40-yard plays. Like,
you're just recapping a random Packers game, Brad. I see nothing unique about this game.
Yeah. The thing is, we have another privileged matchup for Packers at Steelers. I saw a tweet that our guy CJ Stroud now has more touchdown passes than Kenny Pickett for their careers. So,
but how many comeback wins does he have, Brad?
Yeah.
Say it again.
How many comeback wins does he have?
That's a good question. He blows them out. Well, I guess he had one. Hey, he got one today. That I can tell you. So yeah.
So
anyway,
what is that, 7 behind Kenny Pickett?
Yeah.
No one does a better job of getting TJ Watt to have a strip sack, fumble return touchdown in the fourth quarter than Kenny Pickett does. Okay.
Nobody better.
What did you make?
Anyway, all of that, the truth with all that being how it is, I still the Steelers laying 4.5 against Jordan Love's Packers.
I just made it a field goal. I couldn't get past that.
Yeah, I made it as 3. And if anyone had a take either side of 3, I was going to let them have it and enjoy it. It is 3 across the board. All right, your boy Kenny Pickett. Brad, you rolling with him?
My boy Kenny Pickett. I mean, he is the better quarterback in this matchup. I'm standing by that assessment. So, look, what we knew about Will Levis. Well, I guess this is pretty mean to Jordan Love. Reality, like Levis on a short week after his first start had the exact same spread as Jordan Love does in his 4th NFL season. I guess that hasn't played many games. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll take the Steelers. Why not?
I kind of like it. Are we irrationally in love with the Steelers yet meter in the media has not gotten high enough yet. Okay. There are doubters out there because they're looking at real data and statistics and seeing that Kenny Pickett actually isn't very good. So we still have a few rungs to go. Okay. For the Steelers to reach the media buying in at a requisite rate. At which point I will then be able to fade them appropriately. But I like where your head's at, Brad.
Yeah, I think that comes the next 2 weeks, as this commentary just shared. Yeah, yeah.
This is just like I'm gonna join Brad on this one just because it feels like a classic game. The Steelers are gonna win against a bad quarterback. Like I don't have too much faith in the Steelers offense, and the Packers defense is kind of just average at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, why not?
What's the worst that can happen? Jordan Love, it's interesting, right? From a clean pocket, I think, you have some faith in LaFleur, in what will certainly not be a very clean pocket, given the advantage on the edge with the Steelers pass rush. I would not have a ton of faith in Jordan Love. So I like where you guys are at. Tennessee and go ahead.
Just one actual thought too is like we haven't seen Pickens and Deontay, now they're both healthy, have a good game together yet. And this Packers secondary, they lost another safety. I think Rudy Ford was ruled out for this game. Like outside of Jair Alexander, like now that they traded Rasul Douglas, like it's just dudes. Like So I think you're gonna see Deontay and Pickens finally have a good game together.
Yeah, is Pickens still on the team?
Yeah, he would like to be freed after a win and a 5-3 record. He had the Instagram post "free me" or whatever, but he's gonna bounce back. He's gonna bounce back. He could have, if he could have dragged his second foot in from about 6 feet from the sideline, he would have been all smiles. But anyway,
I mean that was pretty rough. Just to my point, Jordan Love has been butt cheeks under pressure, as are all quarterbacks, but he is a particularly large spread between the two. All right, Tennessee, Will Levis and Baker Mayfield. This one is in Tampa Bay.
I had Bucks -2.5.
I had Bucks -2.
I went Bucks by 2.5, and it is we're a little long, I guess. 1.5. Call it 1.5, I guess. Brad, you got anything on this?
I mean, Levis is the better quarterback in this matchup. So I'm like trying to sit here and talk myself into teasing them. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to get there, but I want to. But yeah, I'll pass. I'll wait to see a couple more weeks of Levis, but I do want to tease this.
Yeah, I'm gonna tease it. I guess because first of all, the total is 38.5. I guess the main thing with this is the way you have to beat the Bucs defense is throwing the ball. Like obviously we saw that today. Bucs are second in rush EPA allowed, and they're 25th in passing EPA allowed. Pretty similar to the Titans actually, who ranked 26th in dropback EPA allowed, and they're actually 22nd in rush EPA. So the Bucs, they're patented 1st and 10 run up the middle. Might actually work in this game because the Titans run defense has been pretty bad. But yeah, I think. I don't know if I'd necessarily say Levis is better than Baker right now, but I do think they can cover 7.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on board with that actually. I thought Levis, I mean, that last drive, he had like 4 turnover-worthy plays, because he was trying to figure
Yeah.
something out. But that was a very tough spot. Like, we can talk all the shit we want about Kenny Pickett, and it's all justified, but the Pittsburgh defense on the road on a short week is a tough, you know, kind of situation. And I thought Levis did a great job of figuring it out well enough to find open receivers. And if he's able to do that against Tampa Bay, I think it results in a better offensive performance. So I will go with the Titans in a teaser. Atlanta and Arizona. I'm gonna guess. My guess here is with Kyler Murray back. I don't really care who's playing quarterback for Atlanta, whether it's Ritter or Heineke. My guess is that Arthur Smith will run the same ridiculous offense with either one of them. So, Brad, would you make this?
I think it's gonna be Johnny under center. I went Cardinals plus 1.5.
I went Cardinals plus 1.5 as well.
I made this a pick 'em because, the Falcons lost to Josh Dobbs today, so they can lose to anybody. It is, where is this game? Here it is. I'm seeing 2.5 at Circa, 1.5 at FanDuel, 2.5 at DraftKings. So you have a 1.5 and a 2.5 out there. We'll call it 2.5.
Yeah, I'm teasing that.
Yeah, a lot of teaser spots here, huh?
Yep.
Are we sure this is Kyler?
I mean, yeah, I guess you're right. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm like extremely confident, and the spread almost tells me that it's kind of in a hedge. I think 2.5 is a bit of a hedge.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll stay off. But as soon as we get an inkling this is Kyler, I'm jumping on it.
I'm with you as well. It's like the thought of them running Clayton Tune out there. Clayton named that tune. Clayton Looney Tune. Love that name. I would tease this if I know it's Kyler. Arjun.
I'm just gonna stay away from this game. I don't want any part of this.
The difference in excitement for this game with Kyler versus without Kyler is really sensational. Like, this game is maybe the worst show on turf or on real grass played indoors if Clayton Tune plays, and if Kyler plays, like, legitimately interested to watch this game. Detroit and the Los Angeles Clippers.
Clippers plus 1.5.
I went Clippers plus 3.
I have Clippers plus 3 as well. And it is 3.5. Ooh.
Wait.
I see 1.5 at DraftKings.
1.5 charge. What do you?
Oh, I'm looking at the Chargers Jets game.
Oh.
Yeah, 1.5 is correct. Interesting. Brad, what are you going to do here?
This is a dumb transitive property type thought, but I should actually look at more cross-conference games. But like the Chargers are obviously, we went through our exercise. They're like the 7th or 8th we said in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Lions are, probably 4th, 5th in the NFC, but those are basically the same thing. I'm not going to bet it. I was going to tease the Chargers as well, but because of the high scoring and the high variance, I'll stay off. But I think it's an interesting spot.
I'll just preface it by saying this line was Lions plus 1 like on Friday, and it instantly became my biggest bet of the season. So I will be betting the Lions here as well. I got a better line like earlier. But yeah, this is like such a no-brainer bet. You're getting Lions off a bye, getting Chargers off a Monday night game at MetLife, where players get notoriously banged up, getting Ben Johnson off a bye. You're getting, Chargers on a short week. We've seen, I think, this Chargers defense really struggle against great play callers like Andy Reid. Ben Johnson's up there as well. Lions should be getting healthier. Chargers just put Josh Palmer on IR, and they're going to be starting Simi Fehoko as wide receiver 3. This is going to be a Lions home game. I have no doubt about that, even though they're on the road. Lions fans have been traveling very well. Like, if you look at that Bucs game, half of the stadium was Lions fans, and obviously Chargers don't do a very good job of filling out. So I know a lot of people will be worried about road Goff. This is in a dome. SoFi's a dome, and Goff does very well in a dome. So a lot of factors I think play towards the Lions here. They're just overall the better team, better coached, and this is like one of the easiest bets of the year for me. Probably going to bite me in the ass, but
That's the house that Goff built. You're saying he's comfortable. He built that place.
Yeah, my whole thesis here is if this game is played in Detroit, what's the spread?
minus
4.5.
4.5. Yeah,
This game is basically being played in Detroit.
exactly.
It's every single fan in there is going to be a Lions fan. They travel incredibly well. This is literally where Jared Goff played most of his home games. The only difference is they have to take a flight. So I moved it 1.5 points because you got to take a flight and sleep in your, a different bed, which is really not that big of a deal. I love the Lions here. Give me Detroit. Okay.
Real quick, I won't jinx it and join you guys. I want to, trust me, that it's enticing. The total here, I know like 48.5 is the new 60 in the 2023 NFL, but like the Lions defense also against good opponents, like don't tether to Jimmy Garoppolo, tether to Lamar Jackson, and like I like the over here potentially, but they just keep killing
betting
us.
Chargers overs is just like asking for help.
Yeah, they literally have one receiver too. The Palmer thing is, I remember seeing today and forgot about it. It's bad. Yeah, it's real bad. They have one receiver.
But I think this is a pretty solid matchup for Detroit. All of the things environment wise, but also strong offensive line. I think they'll be able to keep Goff pretty clean. If he stays clean, like receivers are going to be open, especially I think Amon-Ra, particularly in the middle of that defense, is going to have a lot of success. I can already see that prop bet coming. All right. The largest spread we will have seen thus far. The New York Football Giants travel to Dallas to play the Cowboys. Brad?
Yep. We were talking about it before the show. 16.5.
I went 15.
I went 17.5. And I honestly thought that might be short. But I wanted to make sure that I was not short of the line. I do not want to be on the Giants side of this. Where is this thing? Here it is. 16, 15.5, 16 and circa 15.5 at DraftKings and FanDuel. Brad, what are you doing with this one?
So yeah, this is match for the biggest spread I've guessed all year, which was Chiefs Bears. Which book was off, market was off. I'm staying away here. I have no idea what's going on in New York.
I'm gonna stay away as well.
I'm doing it. I'm taking the Cowboys, the New York Giants. If this is Tommy DeVito, this game, they just do not have a shot in this game. I hate to say it. They just have no shot. The New York Giants got destroyed. I mean, destroyed by the Raiders. And I get it that there was all that joy about not having Josh McDaniels. Like Aiden O'Connell tore them up. Yeah, I'm taking them. 15.5, two key points. 15.5 is like the over-under on number of yards that Tommy DeVito is going to have in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys do blow out bad opponents, so yeah.
They beat them by 40 the first time they played them.
That is true.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. What did Max Crosby have today? He had like 8 pressures and like 3 sacks. Micah Parsons is going to have 7 sacks in this game. All right. Washington and Seattle.
Seahawks -5.5.
I went Seahawks -5.
I have too much faith in Sam Howell. I went Seahawks by 3.5.
Oh, wow.
I thought Howell played well today.
Mm-hmm. He did.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of the terrible interception.
Yeah,
the red zone
horrendous, but he
interception.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was a nightmare. It is 6. I'm taking the commies.
Yes.
Yeah, it's way too many points.
Sam Howell is where would you rank him? Let's do this among quarterbacks in the NFL right now. So like caveat, quarterbacks in the NFL right now suck. Where is Sam Howell?
like probably 15-ish, 12 to 15 range, but trending
Yeah.
obviously upward.
Yeah. He's in that Kirk-ish, Kirk-Julian tier. I need to come up with a different quarterback for that because I don't want to, because Kirk is hurt. But yeah, I think that 13 to 17 range.
He's also not to like belabor that. He's not a Kirk. Also, Howell is like a different type of like
Yeah.
gunslinging type of dude.
I
But
know,
I know
I
you meant
know.
more like his range, right? Than like his
Yeah,
style.
I mean,
Yeah.
the whole Kirk thing, like the qualifications to be a Kirk Willian quarterback, I think they change. Like, I think most of it comes from like the concept behind it is like you can win with them on a rookie deal, but you probably can't win with them if you're paying them top tier money. Like that's like the overall. It's not about being a pocket passer. It's not about
I got you.
like it's not really
got
about your play style. In a sense, it is like it's part of it, but I think the general thing is yeah, you can win with them if you pay them $5 million a year, but you can't win with them if you pay them $40 million.
Gotcha.
I think he's in that
Then
range.
yeah, then I think he fits that category for sure.
I think he does. Yeah, I mean, he actually, I think the Kirk one is really good because he makes some throws. He makes some incredible throws. I mean, the dude has a great arm. He is not afraid to put it down there. And then he has those moments like literally the red zone interception, the end zone interception. It was like one of those Kirk Cousins mental lapses. Like that's what it reminded me of. Not to mention that he plays for the Commanders. So it's like absolutely perfect. Someone I also saw comped him to Jameis Winston, and that
Yeah.
was interesting. I think he needs to throw like I'm not sure he makes enough ridiculously stupid decisions to be Jameis Winston, but he definitely pumps the ball downfield. And yeah, I mean, I think he's going to keep you in games, probably lose a few of them as well. But yeah, I think that 12 range is pretty solid. And I think if that's the case, like I don't think there's a big enough difference between him and Geno Smith right now to warrant 6 points in this game. Is kind of where I'm getting at with that. I mean, who's the better quarterback? Geno's been okay, but I wouldn't say he's played amazing this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still saying Geno, but I do think it's too many points. We all did. We were all short of it. So
Jets and Brad, are you betting this one or no?
I'll leave you guys to it again, and I'll let you guys ride.
Jets and Raiders because you needed a great game on Sunday Night Football. So we put Jets and Raiders there, and it's staying. And by the way, so is the game next week as well, which is Denver. Brad.
Yeah, Aiden O'Connell, Zach Wilson in prime time. I went Raiders +3.
I went Raiders +2.
The Raiders getting 1.5. And it is 1.5 at FanDuel, 2.5 at DraftKings, 2.5 at Circa. We'll call it 2.5. You guys doing anything with this?
I mean, we obviously have to see the game tomorrow night with the Chargers Jets, but like any injury could happen, so it's kind of difficult for this show. But I'm taking the Jets. I'll stick by the guess there. The new coach bump is a 1-game bump.
Yeah.
I should research that actually.
If the Jets win tomorrow outright as 3.5 point dogs, what does this line move to? Does it go to 3 flat?
Maybe. Yeah.
I'll lay off.
I'm disappointed. I should have revisited this line. I think I made this too early in the day. I really like the Jets in this spot. Pending there are no catastrophic injuries.
Yeah.
I will take
they are playing a Jet Life this Monday,
so anything can happen. If the Jets come out of that, relatively unhurt, I like this spot a lot. I mean, the Raiders are celebrating like they won the Super Bowl and they just beat a team with the worst quarterback in NFL history. Like you can't set it up better. I actually like this more if the Jets lose, I think, tomorrow, but remain.
Yeah, honestly, same.
Yeah.
So I'll lay off for now, and you can bet your bottom dollar I'll be betting this tomorrow night if that happens. Denver and Buffalo close it out on Monday night. Brad?
Bills -7.5. Probably short.
And Bills -7.
I went 7.5 as well. And let's see here. It is 8.5 at FanDuel, 7.5 at DraftKings, 7.5 at Pinnacle. So we'll call it 7.5. Anyone doing anything with this?
I kind of want to take the Bills. Want to talk myself into it. Or I want to take another primetime over, and I shouldn't be like a trends guy, but I've probably done that on 4 of the 9 weeks, and I think it's lost every time I've taken a primetime over in the Sunday or Monday night. 45 with this Bills defense. Now I'll do it. I'm doing it one more time. Over 45.
Russell Wilson overs are
come on, Brad. You know better.
Are scary. I mean,
he's been good.
Yeah.
Ish.
I guess I would be worried about this matchup. I think as it's a really good matchup for Burrow and the Bengals, I think it's a not great matchup for Wilson. But Buffalo did get a little banged up defensively. So you never know. I'm staying away. Arjun?
Yeah, I'm staying away as well.
All right. That was our show. We'll be back, of course, on Wednesday evening. Judah will be joining us for that. Judah today came painstakingly close to that Houston same game parlay. A couple people out there did hit forms of that parlay with Stroud and Tank Dell and Houston winning, although they did not. They found a way not to cover that game. So, of course, we'll be back on Wednesday. Talk about all that good stuff. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Join the Discord so you can take advantage of all the stuff that we talk about between podcasts and enjoy the Monday night batch with the Jets and the Chargers. We love you all. Peace.